This break is brought to you by Netflix. Head on over to netflix.com/GameBreakerTV to sign up for your free 30-day trial today. All right, what's better than a raid fight against a tough boss? Well, how about a raid fight against 10 tough bosses? Matt Fryer from the Elder Scrolls Online has a brand new interview up on Game Informer. Jason, what did Matt tell us about? Let's start with Endgame. Let's talk a little about Endgame.
Well, first off, he said that he definitely wants you to have the ability to PvE and PvP at endgame, which you'd expect, really. And especially when he talked about raiding, talking about PvE, he said he wanted to get away from just, the typical thing where you mob a boss with your big raid, 10, 12, 20 people, whatever. He says he wants the words he used were many versus many. So he kind of wants to emulate PvP in that way, where it's not just a bunch against one. It's a big chaotic fight with a bunch of stuff going on all over the place. And you said the Elder Scrolls games aren't typically about big boss fights. Usually there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of different fights, a lot of different sub-battles going on, a lot of people, a lot of chaos. And it definitely sounds like something he wants to emulate in the MMO.
Huh. All right. That sounds cool. That sounds pretty interesting. So what about questing then? An earlier article had said that quests would be, and I quote, they said hubless. Did he give any examples of what that actually means?
Yeah, he talked about how, like he gave the scenario, if you see a ruined tower on the side of the road and a town ahead, a populated town, we're conditioned as MMO players to go to the town first and get the quest to go to the tower. Now, he doesn't want it to be like that. He says you can go to the tower, do stuff there, get a reward in it, and that might lead to more stuff, which then leads to something else, and so on. So it's not going to be back and forth between town adventure, back and forth, getting your quest trains and so on.
Does this sound a little reminiscent of Guild Wars 2 and Arenanet sort of system? Where things just sort of happen to you in the world and it's just sort of a little bit more natural?
Yeah, it definitely sounds like they're trying to go with that style. As I watched the video and just watched a lot of stuff they talked about, I couldn't help but think they were coming from the same place. I mean, if you watch one of the big dragon fights in Guild Wars 2, I can think of too. Yeah, there's the big dragon there, but there's all this other stuff going on all around it. So it's not just a bunch of people against one big thing. And he talked about how easy it would be to group up, all that sort of stuff. And the thing is, they've been working on this game since 2007, so it's not that they did just say, hey, what's Guild Wars 2 doing? Let's copy that. Obviously, they came to some of the same conclusions that the Arenanet team did in terms of questing and how this sort of thing should work, and decided to make it their own way.
I think another thing that a lot of MMO companies, including Arenanet and obviously now with the Elder Scrolls Online, is that everybody's coming to the conclusion and talking a lot about personal story in the MMO and how important that is. The big revelation that came out of this interview, I understand, was that the personal story is actually going to be 100% soloable.
Yeah, he wants to be a lot like the Elder Scrolls game, of course, where you're the big hero and you're the one doing the big, huge things and having the impact on that. Didn't get details exactly how your story would shape up, but he definitely said that he wants you to have that feeling of being a hero and being the one guy who's out saving the universe.
Going to be really interesting. Cannot wait for the Elder Scrolls Online. Of course, we do not have any sort of release date as of yet, but we will keep you informed. Keep it locked in, dialed in right here every day, all day to GameBreaker.tv. We'll see you later.